What's good, Panther Nation? It is your boy, Myron McRae, a.k.a. Tornado McRae across the skies of the internet, here with another episode of Panther Pride TV, your one-stop shop for all your Panther notifications and your Panther obligations. And guys, just want to say, first and foremost, got to give a huge shout-out and thank you to Underdog for sponsoring this video. And guys, with the playoffs still going on, got to let you know, Underdog is the place to play, man. It's honestly just that easy with all your gridiron action going on, because all you got to do, just pick your favorite players, high or low on the stats, just like touchdowns, receptions, things of that nature, and if you get them right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. And truth be told, all y'all really need to do, just go up here, this little QR code right there, do that. That way you can download the app and start playing today. And this week, man, I went hit and miss with Matthew Stafford, and then as I'm looking at it right now, hold up, I just had it up. Briefly. Oh, no. Of course, it wants to be silly. But I'm looking at Fernando Mendoza tonight here in the College Football Championship. Right now he's at 223.5 for pass yards, so honestly, I'm looking at doing the higher on that. And 1.5 passing touchdowns, I'm also going to go higher on that as well. But what are y'all waiting for? Download the app and use the promo code FootballFan to get $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code FootballFan to get $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. And all you got to do, you ain't even got to search it up. Again, use this QR code, sign up, use this code, and you can have some fun and have a blast. But again, huge shout out to Underdog for sponsoring this video. We're going to get into this action right after these last little bit of words.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text HOMI 467-369.
Now that it's all said and done, let's get into today's docket, man, because we got a few things going on. And first of all, I do want to tell all of you, and I do want to tell each and every one of you lovely people, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, man. Huge day, huge icon in the civil rights movement and just in American history in general. So happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And to MLK himself, sir, continue that you, Malcolm, and the rest of all the civil rights activists, rest in peace, but Martin Luther King, for what you've done and your contributions to this country and the world, thank you, my man. And I do want to say, guys, we're going to talk about the first thing I do want to say, and I'm kind of repeating myself. I apologize. But Coach Canales was speaking on our wide receivers heading into the 2026 season. So I went back and looked through the transcript of Coach Canales' press conference, because last week I focused on Dan Morgan, right? And I was focusing on a lot of stuff that Dan Morgan said in his press conference. And then I went back and looked at the transcript of Coach Canales. And I'll probably pull it up multiple times later on throughout the week, just giving us an idea of where he's thinking, where Morgan's thinking, what direction he wants to go heading into 2026. And definitely one thing that came about was the wide receiver core and how he feels going into next year. So the first question was, the question that was posed to him in regards to the wide receivers was if he felt like he's found his tandem in receivers in regard to young guys that he got this year, predominantly talking about just our core and who he thinks those young receivers are our go-to tandem going forward. And he says, yeah, wide receivers Jalen Coker and T-Mac produced for us in an incredible way, and the chemistry with quarterback Bryce Young has certainly grown. They're going to have the first opportunity to be out there to start. You want those guys on the field. You want them out there because of the impact they've made for us offensively.
Nani?
Hey. First of all, actually, I'm going to do this too. I'm giving Dave the cheers because that's him showing conviction and saying, yeah, our two starting receivers, our two go-tos right now are T-Mac and Coker, which we've all said, I confirmed even after the playoff loss. Yeah, Coker is the solidified number 2 right now. I don't think anybody can go against that. When you look at the tape, when you look at the film, when you look at just the production over this season, Coker was the solidified number 2. And I'm glad that Canales stuck to the guns and verbally expressed that. That's no shade at Xavier, and we're going to talk about Xavier because that's obviously the follow-up question that everybody wants in the room. But it needs to be said, who's where? We know where T-Mac is at. Man could honestly be winning Rookie of the Year here in a couple of weeks, and I hope he does. He really needs to. But along with that, Coker, undrafted, out of Holy Cross, been balling his butt off since he got the opportunity. And then this year, coming back from injury too, when we needed clutch moment after clutch moment, clutch catch after clutch catch. If it wasn't T-Mac, it was Jalen Coker. Let's be real. Xavier had a moment against Miami. Jimmy Horn had a moment against the Cowboys. I want to say that was the Cowboys game when he had that big corner route catch. They've had their moments, but on a consistency level basis, when we need a big pass, we're going to T-Mac, we're going to Jalen Coker. Shoot, if our defense holds, the game-winning touchdown was to Jalen Coker. Or the go-ahead touchdown. If we had won the game against the Rams, the game-winning touchdown would have been to Jalen Coker. We've all seen it. We all know it. And I like the fact that Canales is open about saying, yep, my number 1 and number 2 right now that I want to start are T-Mac and Jalen Coker. He's comfortable saying it. It's okay to say it. And the best part is it's not throwing shade or a knock at the other players. It's just based off the production because at the end of the day, we all know this is a production-based league. This is a production-based sport. If you do not produce, you get cut. And honestly, that's life in general more times than not. If you don't produce, you're going to get cut. You don't produce at your job, fired. You don't produce in sports in high school, you're cut. You don't practice and produce when you're playing in the orchestra and the band, you lost first chair. You don't produce in class, you fail. You see what I'm saying? If you don't produce, you're gonna suffer. So saying that, hey, this is my number 1, this is my number 2, this is my first chair, my second chair, this is my starter, this is my second, it's not a shade. It's what you know and it's who you know. And with that, you obviously have to ask the question, what does that leave for Xavier? And they asked, okay, so what are Xavier's plans and what does he have to do to redeem himself and what does he need to go into next season? And Canales says this, Xavier just needs to keep grinding, keep working, connecting with Bryce, making sure they're on the same page. Making the plays when they come to him. It's that simple. When you get the opportunity in this league, this game, all the margins are so fine. It's just critical that when you're called upon, when your number is called, you make the play. That's how you build trust, and that's how you get things back on track. The thing I respect about Xavier through this process is all that's done is work. All he's done is continue to try to find ways. How can I help? He continued to block, continued to be available. His returning kicks yesterday and finding ways to do that, he's made of the right stuff. I have full faith and confidence that Xavier will bounce back and have an excellent year next year. And I'll be the first to tell you, I hope he does. I hope he does. I have been a defender of Xavier on this channel, and I hope he has a bounce back. I really need him to. I really need him to take up Ocho on that offer. Because he just can't have the little things hindering him. I want this to be a situation to where T-Mac, Coker, and Xavier are all legitimized threats, and we're in a situation to where no team can double team any of them because it would compromise them in other areas. I want us to be in a position where, okay, you want to double team T-Mac? Coker and Xavier about to start eating. You want to double team Coker? T-Mac and Xavier about to start eating. You want to double team Xavier? T-Mac and Coker about to start eating. And then, God forbid, if we get Jimmy Horn and company, you want to press up on all of them and worry about them, and we can get Jimmy Horn really to start destroying whoever over the top. It can be beautiful. I know I'm talking a lot of hypotheticals, and we got a long way to go. It's going to be a long offseason. It's going to go quicker than we think, but it's still going to be long, man. And it's just one of those things where I want Xavier to excel. The team wants it. I know a lot of you want it. And the reason why we want him to, oh my God, English is hard today. The reason why we want him to excel is due to the fact that we see T-Mac excelling. We see Coker excelling. We want Xavier to join the party. We want him in the party. We want him in the club. We want him there with the squad. Because that makes everything so much easier and so much better. Spreads out the field. Everybody gets one-on-one matchups. Everybody starts eating. We just start throwing it downfield. We like, bro, you got your third best corner on Xavier. Barbecue chicken. Now you moved your third best corner over to Jalen Coker because you said, all right, the second best corner got to go on Xavier. Barbecue chicken. Now those two are eating, so you take that third best corner and you put them on T-Mac. Barbecue chicken with T-Mac. Like, that's the issue. That's what we want. That's why we want Xavier to be great. That's why we don't want him to have these simple issues of, bro, you don't know where you at on the field? Now, did Xavier continue to block? Yes. I don't care who you are. Once he came back and really stepped in, because the first couple weeks he wasn't doing it. I will admit that. First couple weeks he looked lackadaisical. He looked like he didn't want to be there, so on and so forth. But then when he came back from his injury, even though he wasn't getting passes, he was still a force when it came to the blocking for the run game and things of that nature. We'll give him that. And that just goes to being a great teammate. So when it comes to being a pass catcher, a wide receiver, even if we have to utilize them in drags and screens more, I just need him to make the catches and then make the right decision. Go upfield. Use your body. Use your framework, man. Do what you can do. I want him to be great. I genuinely do. I want Coker to continue to excel. I want T-Mac to continue to thrive. Because I would love for the Carolina Panthers in a few years to say, you know what? We got the best receiving core in the league. Like, and it puts fear in all of y'all. Puts fear in all of y'all. So I think it's going to be a great problem in the future. If Xavier can do what he do, it'll be a great problem. And I like the fact that Canales just stood on it and said, yeah, T-Mac and Jalen Coker are my number one and number two right now. And next, speaking of receivers, Carolina may cause Houston some problems this offseason.
Nani?
So, according to Last Word on Sports, this is a rumor. And to be honest, it's a rumor I don't think will happen. But Houston Texans have officially lost. They're officially in offseason mode. And one player could potentially be heading to the Carolina Panthers as a free agency option. That player is none other than one Christian Kirk. This is coming from Anthony Palacios, Last Word on Sports. He says, the Carolina Panthers were a score away from advancing to the divisional round. The future is bright in Carolina as the team is probably one or two good signings from getting themselves into the NFC Championship game. Bryce Young is still developing and getting his experience, but he could use another pass catcher. Xavier Leggette has been inconsistent for the past 2 seasons, so the team could consider trading him at a cheap cost. If that happens, the Panthers should look into Kirk. The team has two reliable offensive weapons in rookie Tedero McMillan and the younger Jalen Coker. These two are the heart and soul of the pass offense for Young, but someone like Kirk could help them with the experience they lack. Kirk isn't going to light up the field, but his presence should be a relief. Now, is Christian Kirk a valuable asset? Absolutely. No disregarding that. Is Christian Kirk a proven wide receiver in this league? Yes. Is Christian Kirk just somebody you can really count on, and basically is Christian Kirk going to show up and do his thing? Yeah. The thing with Christian Kirk, one, he has a history of injuries. That he does. Two, his contract situation. And here's what I mean by that. Christian Kirk, not that. Christian Kirk, his previous contract, the one that he's finishing up right now, it was a 4-year, $72 million deal, right? 4 years, $72 million. It had $37 million total and guaranteed and a $20 million signing bonus. That's the contract that he is finishing up right now with the Texans. Now, heading into 2026, I can foresee Christian Kirk trying to match that or trying to have a deal similar to that, because if I average it out real quick, 4 years, $72 million, that's about what? 45. A little over, about between what? About $17 million a year? About $17 million a year or so? Yeah. $18 million a year. That's an $18 million a year contract. Which isn't horrible. It honestly isn't horrible. But knowing Christian Kirk, he's probably going to want a little bit more. He's probably going to want a little bit more. And considering the fact when you look at his numbers, actually, he's taking a dip. So he might not. I take that back. Christian Kirk has taken a dip in his numbers each of the last 4 seasons since that deal was signed. 1,100 yards in 2022, 787 in 23, 379 in 24, and 239 in just this past year. Actually, Christian Kirk might not be a bad addition if he's not asking for something crazy. The only thing is you're getting a vet. If Carolina's trying to go younger now, then there's no need to bring him in. But if you want that vet presence and you're not planning on keeping David Moore, obviously they didn't keep Hunter Renfrow, I can see Kirk now. If he's not asking for anything crazy, I could see that. Now that I'm actually looking at it more, okay, my stance has kind of changed. Possible. It's gone from a absolutely no to it's possible. I will say that about myself. Do I think it's going to happen? No. If you're asking me right now, hard answer, no. But it is a possibility. So, I don't know. Carolina may look into that, depending on what they want to do. I'm not fully against it now looking at the numbers and looking at his contract, because there's no way you're going to be able to ask for more money or ask for more than what you just got, especially with your numbers consistently falling off. Like, your numbers have gotten worse each and every year, Christian. So, yeah, actually, that might be a steal. That just might be a steal. Let's lay it on that one. What y'all think? Y'all tell me. Am I crazy? Am I out blowing smoke out my butt? I don't know. And then thirdly, because we talked about this, y'all, time to look at some linebacker prospects for the 2026 NFL draft, because that is definitely a position we have to address going into next year. And we're going to look at the top draft picks or the top prospects going into this year's draft. And this ranking comes from Bleacher Report, and I'm going to show you. So, right now, the top linebackers heading to the 2026 draft are as follows. At number 1, Arvell Reese from Ohio State. Number 2, Sonny Styles from Ohio State. Number 3, C.J. Allen from Georgia. Number 4, Deontay Lawson from Alabama. Number 5, Jake Galladay from Cincinnati. Number 6, Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas. Number 7, Whit Weeks from LSU. Number 8, Torian York from A&M, Texas A&M. Number 9, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. And number 10, Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU. Now, looking at this list, and considering that we draft 19, I already know we're not getting the top 4. Reese, Styles, Allen, Deontay Lawson, gone. I know they won't be available. I just know. There's no point even looking. Now, from Galladay down, there's some possibility. There's some possibility. Like Galladay, Hill Jr., Weeks, York, Rodriguez, and Perkins, there's some possibility. And I think I like Anthony Hill Jr. I feel I know a lot about Anthony Hill Jr., and I have to double check because, let's see. Yeah. Because I did hear a lot about him this year. Young man, this past year, 70 total tackles, 38 solos, 32 assisted, 1 pass deflection, 4 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. And then the year before that, 113 tackles, 59 solo, 54 assisted, 1 pass deflection, 8 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 1 interception. So, young man, moving and grooving. And then when you got Jake Galladay, when I look at his numbers, Jake is this year 104 tackles, 38 solos, 66 assisted, 3 pass deflections, 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. And then 2024, 58 total tackles, 28 solo, 30 assisted, 2 pass deflections, 1.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. So, yeah, right now, if I had to look at that list again, and if he's available, I definitely would say Anthony Hill Jr. I think Anthony Hill Jr. could be that guy based off what I have seen from Texas games. And I could be wrong, and I'm probably going to have to look more into the film session and the film room to come up with a solidified verdict. But right now, with where we pick in the draft, we're looking at Galladay and lower. Reese ain't going to be available. Styles ain't going to be available. C.J. Allen ain't going to be available. Deontay Lawson ain't going to be. I would be so shocked if any of those gentlemen are available. I am just being a 1,000 with you. But Anthony Hill, he just might. Whit Weeks, he just might. Torian York, he just might. Jacob Rodriguez, he just might. Galladay, he just might. Harold Perkins, he just might. And I got to look at the list even further because there are other individuals on that list, such as, hold up, I just seen it. I'll get to it next time because I just saw it. But yeah, you obviously got more individuals who are available, but I think this draft for linebackers is going to be real good for us. It's going to be real good for the league in general. I think it should be a good draft. But now we are going to get into the Panther freeze frame of the day, which is this photo from the playoff game of this gentleman or person or madam, whoever, dressed up as the Carolina Reaper. And look at everybody just loving it. I love this photo. I think this is a really cool photo. Really cool costume. And when y'all get creative, y'all be the most creative, man. I absolutely adore it. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for y'all favorite segment, time for Panther Nation to speak your truth. And that's where I read y'all comments and see what you lovely guys, gals, hooligans, and everybody in between got to say about Panther Nation. And the first one comes from Glowman_B, my dog says, when in terms of the would you rather between Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson, he says, Trey, only because we'd have to almost break the bank in order to get Max giving up draft capital when we're still not in any position to just yet. Plus, Trey is still able to perform at 31. Just give him a 2-3 year deal, have a mentor, Nick, Princely, etc. And we need another elite vet presence on our defense other than DB. But I'm not against the idea of getting Max. It's just got to make sense on our end. You see where I'm coming from? Oh, yeah, I 1,000% see where you're coming from. I really do. The reason why I think is actually going to cause more to break the bank with Trey, as I said in the last video, Max is already locked in his deal. Like, his deal's locked. The draft capital makes sense, so I can see why that actually makes sense. When you're thinking of the draft capital to get Max, yeah, no teams the Raiders aren't going to just give up Max for the low, especially because he's locked into that deal. They're going to want something back. Trey, because he has performed, obviously not this year due to injury, but because he has performed and Cincinnati essentially was trying to screw him and not pay him originally last year or this past offseason, like this most recent offseason, he's going to want to get paid. He's going to want to get paid just to prove a point. But we do need a vet presence, and whether it's Max or Trey, we definitely need that vet presence on the team. However, I understand what you mean by the Raiders are going to try to get a haul of draft capital, and if that's the case, yeah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. We are not doing that, so just get Trey in the free agency and call it a day. Next comes from the Dark Knight 23, says, I'm sorry, but Edgerro took us from a historically terrible defense to bring us to a 15 defense. If you're going to give Edgerro, get all the smoke. If you're going to give Edgerro get all the smoke, then you have to give Canales smoke too. Well, my friend, you may be new, may not have seen my video, so I'm not going to take this as any insult. And what I'm about to say, please, I'm not disrespecting you when I say this. I have given Canales smoke. I have. I've been on the channel saying half of our offensive problems have been his play calling. It's not consistent. The same way we say Bryce Young isn't consistent, the same way we say our running game hasn't been consistent, Canales' play calling hasn't been consistent either. Edgerro, everybody says we were a historically bad defense, but for some reason, everybody forgets we were missing the main piece on our defensive line last year in DB. The 2 years DB has been with us, we've been a fifth, and with Edgerro, the defense has been a 15 to 18 defense. 2023, 15 to 18 ranked defense. 2025, a 15 or 18 ranked defense. The reason why we were so bad last year is a lot of it was injuries, including the fact that we lost Derrick Brown for the whole season. That's why I say personnel can make or break his play calling. Our personnel can sometimes mask what he does. So personnel does have a piece to play, but also his play calling does as well. And I think, to me, it's like, oh, we were terribly bad. And then in 2023, we were still 15 to 18. He got the players he wanted back, and we're back to where we were in 2023, a 15 to 18 defense. So I'm going to give Edgerro the same smoke that I give Canales. But I will be fair, and I will make sure that my smoke for Canales is just as loud as Edgerro. However, I will admit, I'm not a fan of him always wanting to play 10, 12 yards off when it's 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 7, and he just gives it up for the easy dink and dunk, and they run for first downs. I'm just not. I'm adamantly against that, bro. I'm adamantly against it. Last comes from Panthers 757. Says, I feel like we need to get back to putting some real hog mollies up front to bolster the front pass rush. I'm also for a 4-3 defense since we have a strong cornerback duo. we should still get another strong CB along with more linebacker starters and depth. This doesn't take away from doing the same with the O-line. We have very good players sprinkled on both sides of the ball to build upon. I'm very excited for the offseason efforts of Dan Morgan. Hashtag keep pounding. I have nothing to add there because it all makes sense and it all, like, we definitely need some guys up front with DB who can really just cause havoc in that front rush in just like 2-3 seconds. Like, I'm talking just cause havoc. And definitely add depth with the secondary, especially the linebackers, because right now we got the players. We're just a few away, man. We're just a few away. Linebackers for sure. Pass rush, turn it up. Add somebody, add offensive line help for sure. And, man, guys, we can really be something next year and going forward. And it's really, really beautiful, and I'm looking forward to it as well. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you 100% there, man. I cannot disagree. So, that's all I have for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell at the bottom so you can always be notified of when these videos are dropping. Next, comment below. Let me know, what are y'all thoughts about Canales' comments in regards to our wide receiver core? Do you like the fact that he just came out and said, yep, T-Mac and Coker are our number 2 and what he needs for Xavier? 2, would you want to see Christian Kirk come to Carolina? And 3, who's a linebacker that you would love to see Carolina draft going in this 2026 draft? Who's a linebacker you'd love to see his draft that you know is probably going to be available? Like, I get we all would love Arvell Reese, but we all know he ain't going to be there. Let me know everything in the comment section below, guys, because y'all know the deal. At the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just a skinny brother with 2 tats. Peace. Much love to all you Panther Nation. Take care. Later days, and as always, keep pounding. I'll see y'all next time.